question concerns what I call T Epenthesis, epenthetic T, the phenomenon that applies in words like fence, N plus S sounds at the end, but many people pronounce them fence, intruding, if you like, a T between the N and the S. And in general, between a nasal and a voiceless fricative, you get a plosive agreeing in place with the nasal. Humphrey becomes Humphrey, emphasis becomes emphasis, conscience becomes conscience. Now, the general view is that this is on the increase, both in American English and in British English. It probably is another of the differences between your speech and mine, that you do it, I don't do it.
But at least I can stop myself, unlike your actors.
Right. You see, when I was little and my mother sent me out to buy some mince, I knew that I had to come back with mincemeat. But if she sent me out to buy some mints, I would come back with sweets. But I think mothers, children, your mother wouldn't be able to rely on that difference at all, would she?
Maybe I'd need to know what she was cooking first.
Yes. It's a slightly contrived example, but I think it's true. Well, this too, you see, seems to go against this universal tendency to weaken syllable final positions. So we have the question, why?
Why?
Well, you can give them the explanation in terms of timing of articulatory movements, or would you like me to?
No, you do it.
All right. To get from n to s, think what you have to do with your organs of speech. You're making n. Tongue tip on alveolar ridge, complete closure, soft palate down, vocal cords vibrating, air streaming out through the nose. Now, we want to change this to s. That means the soft palate's got to go up, vocal cords have got to stop vibrating, and the tongue tip has got to come away to allow the air over, to allow the air to pass over the tongue tip. 3 changes. We can actually ignore the voicing one. That can happen because of aerodynamic changes in pressure and so on. That's not a problem. But it's absolutely crucial which movement happens first, of the soft palate or the tongue tip. In order to get the older pronunciation fence, what must happen first? The first thing must be the tongue tip. It must release its contact, and you get a moment of nasalized S, fence. Then you finish the movement of the soft palate, and you've got fence. If you get the timing wrong by a millisecond, there will be a moment during which the air can't get out through the nose and can't get out through the mouth. Fence. And that's the condition for recognizing a T. So a very fine difference of timing is sufficient to trigger this difference. Why it should be on the increase is not altogether explained by this explanation, but at least it tells us why it's a likely thing to happen.
Well, that's my question, but John S. Kingston, University of Massachusetts, says the same thing about what I said. I mean, signaling the T, the voicelessness of S.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Right, so it's making the difference between fence and fens, plural of fen. Yes. Or in American English, dance versus dans belonging to Dan. I suppose it's reasonable because you don't intrude a T or anything really between N and a voiced fricative. Doesn't altogether explain why we do it in other places. In words like conscience, it's not competing with any conscience possibility. In emphasis, there's no possibility. I suppose there is a possibility of emphasis, envy, words like that. It's not a very powerful, not much functional load attached to that contrast, is there? Anyhow, we can continue to speculate, and I doubt if anybody can prove us wrong.
I wonder if people are, speaking faster than they used to. Century ago than
Oh, this would be very difficult to measure.
How are you going to measure that? Yes.
There must be also phonographs made in the early,
In the early days, making a phonographic record was very difficult. You had to speak very clearly and rather loudly, or else the machine would not be able to record accurately what you were doing. The fact that we can now chat into a microphone reflects increases in technology.
Yes.